So how's it going on, everyone, and welcome to another video. Now, I haven't done a ROG Ally video in a while, but I've been enjoying Battlefield 6, and so I wanted to test it on my ROG Ally to see how it plays. So let's get into it. Now, Battlefield 6 released a couple weeks ago, well, actually just 2 weeks ago, but regardless, it released recently, and one of its key strengths is its very strong PC optimization. I mean, people are claiming that they are running this game pretty smoothly at like 40 to 60 FPS on stuff like the GTX 1650 from like almost 8 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, which is wild. And this kind of performance is not something we see really frequently in a AAA game, at least in 2025. So it is a welcome surprise. And with that optimization, it does translate to this game running surprisingly well on even lower end hardware like PC handhelds. So let's talk about the ROG Ally performance. Now, when it comes to Battlefield 6 on the ROG Ally, I was tinkering a lot with 720p mainly. I wanted to get the most performance out. Obviously, since this is a multiplayer game, you do want to squeeze out as much performance versus like just pretty graphics. So running it at 720p with FSR around like quality or balance, I really couldn't tell a difference between the two in terms of performance. I was surprised to get even close to 60, even higher frame rates in some instances, which is very, very shocking in my personal opinion because 2042 had some big issues with running on the ROG Ally, and sometimes the game would just drop to like 40 FPS or below a lot of the time. But Battlefield 6, surprisingly, at least from the limited experience that I've been playing, ran better than what I've tested 2042 in the past, which is awesome to see. Now, it's all dependent on the mode and player count because smaller game modes like Rush won't be as hectic in terms of like player counts and just stuff going on. So on those smaller game modes, the game runs pretty smoothly. But if you're planning to play the more intensive modes like Conquest or Breakthrough, especially like Breakthrough, surprisingly, where you're trying to contest a zone and, tanks, jeeps, IFVs, and then like everyone's shooting around you, big explosions everywhere in a small confined space, you are going to see some of those frame dips into like the 40s or 50s. But the variable refresh rate of the ROG Ally helps to smooth out that experience, so it's not too noticeable in my opinion. And I gotta say that Battlefield 6 overall is a good experience on the ROG Ally. There are some caveats though, especially if you want to be somewhat competitive in a Battlefield game, especially with the bigger maps and all that stuff on the smaller screen, especially with FSR enabled. It's going to be a little bit tricky to track targets at longer ranges. And I found that like using the built-in controller, it took a lot getting used to. Like I am not used to playing Battlefield on the ROG Ally joysticks and controls, so it felt really off to me. So it's going to take a little bit of time to get dialed in to get somewhat competitive, but overall, I think that if the ROG Ally is either your only option to play Battlefield or you want to, bring this game on the go, I think the RG Ally or any like Z1 Extreme enabled PC handheld, I think will run this game just perfectly fine. One thing I also want to note too is that I would suggest also setting the 4 GB VRAM buffer. I found that setting it to auto caused a lot of stuttering issues, but setting it to 4 and then just lowering all the graphics to the lowest possible with FSR smoothed out a lot of the experience. So yeah, I'm going to shut up and show you some mediocre gameplay from me with this game running. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, and I'll see you guys later.
Enemy infantry!